Thanks for joining us this Monday. I'm Jason Rice. Coming up in the next hour on News 6 Sunrise, tornadoes ripped through southern Minnesota and parts of Wisconsin yesterday, killing at least one. We'll have a full report. Plus, controversy over the USS Des Moines continues as there are some shocking new figures on how much taxpayer money was spent. And in sports, Kentucky's on top again for women's basketball. We'll have game highlights from last night's final. All of that and much more in just a moment. But first, good morning, everyone. Taking a look at the weather this Monday morning, we're looking at some pretty cloudy skies. Nothing too much changed from yesterday.
Well, things I think are going to change a lot from yesterday. Yesterday and last night were certainly wild throughout Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now today, sure, we're facing cloudy skies and a little bit of rain, but, well, nothing as nasty as yesterday. Let's go to our national radar here and take a look at this storm system that wreaked all this havoc throughout the two states. As we can see, the bulk of the energy of the big storm has moved off towards the north and the east, which means we are going to see things calm down just a little bit for today. But how wild were things last night? Well, Spooner reported 2.5 inches of rain. If that had been snow, of course, that would have been about 2 feet of snow. Speaking of snow, they did get a little snow in Tower, made the roads kind of slippery. And in Duluth, Al Hartley, our weather watcher, called in and said he got an inch of rain overnight. And of course, we had those tornadoes down in the St. Peter region, which unfortunately did claim one fatality. Well, here's the forecast for today, and I do think things are going to calm down quite a bit. Sure, there's a 40% chance of rain, but it should stay on the lighter side. High temperatures today, Jason, should be in the mid-40s throughout the region.
All right, and of course, we'll get the details on that forecast in just a bit. Right now, topping our news this morning, a string of tornadoes were winding their way through southern Minnesota yesterday. Spring storms with a deadly punch. A 6-year-old is dead and hundreds of homes are damaged in several communities. Lauren Glassberg reports St. Peter, Minnesota is one of the communities hardest hit.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen in 24 years of doing this job. There's houses down, trees down, tops of buildings off. The courthouse, half the top is gone off of that. It's a mess.
A stormy Sunday afternoon brought mayhem to St. Peter.
You just see the clouds turning and turning, and pretty soon you could see it coming down.
At least one funnel cloud hopped, skipped, and tore its way through the town of 10,000.
You could just see the black clouds swirling, and then all of a sudden you could hear the roar of the train.
Only part of Mary Finisgard's home is still standing.
I used to have a porch there in the roof, and it was just all sided. Yeah.
Her neighborhood is an intersection of disaster.
We don't get many down here in the valley, and I always said if we ever got one down here, it was going to be bad, and it is.
Anybody here?
Police go door to door looking for survivors.
What about this house?
No, they don't know yet.
They don't know yet?
Yeah, it's his car. They must have cleaned him up. He said he's
Do you think he's in there? You okay? Where are you at? You're
Probably should get out of this.
You probably should get out of it.
And as darkness quickly fell, people gathered what they could.
Odie and Mouse.
Tonight, they counted their blessings
Thank God they've got the warning systems now, because we were all down there safe and sound.
and wondered what's next.
I guess tomorrow will tell.
The 6-year-old boy was riding in a van that was blown off the road about 150 yards into a farm field near St. Peter. He's been identified as Dustin Schneider. All roads into St. Peter and the city of Comfrey were blocked. No traffic was allowed in or out of the towns late yesterday or early today. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, the Buffalo County Sheriff's Department says a twister hit in the backwaters of the Chippewa River near Maxville without damaging any structures. Still to come on News 6 Sunrise, meteorologist Dave Anderson will have your 5-day forecast. Find out in just 6 minutes if we'll have any more storms this work week. But first, we'll have some surprising information showing what money was spent trying to bring the USS Des Moines to Duluth. The time now is 6:04. We'll be back with that in just a moment. We're back at 6:06. One person was injured after a car rolled over last night near Gary. The accident occurred shortly before 9 p.m. at Commonwealth Avenue and McConaughey Street. One person was thrown from the vehicle. A second was not injured. The vehicle knocked down a power pole during the crash. A report filed with the city of Duluth shows that almost $200,000 was spent by those who fought to bring the USS Des Moines to Duluth. The biggest spender was the Department of Natural Resources, which spent $143,000 taxpayer dollars on project planning and payroll. The Veterans Yes Group spent $49,000 to sway public opinion. The privately donated funds were mostly spent on television advertising. Meanwhile, the Anti-Des Moines Coalition managed to stop the project with less than $10,000. Other money spent by Governor Arnie Carlson's office is not public information because it was taken from the governor's private fund. Well, Duluth taxpayers who are waiting until the last minute to file and are too busy during the week to get questions answered can now get some help. The Duluth IRS office will offer free federal and state tax information for the next 2 Saturdays. The office is located in room 105 of the Duluth Federal Building. Representatives will assist taxpayers from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. People can pick up free forms, make federal payments, and get tax law questions answered. In addition, the IRS and Minnesota Department of Revenue will prepare forms for people who made less than $30,000. The office is also open on weekdays from 8 until 4:20. Well, waiting paid off for dozens of anxious music fans who spent Friday night in line at the deck. After the long wait, most got what they were waiting for, Aerosmith tickets. Some spent more than 15 hours in line to shell out $34.50 for one of the 7,000 seats available for the concert. The crowd included people of all ages who are looking forward to the May 3rd performance.
I'm really excited for the concert. We waited a long time. I think any seat's just as good as you're going to get here for Aerosmith. I mean, they're legends. Come on.
While patience worked out for some, others left empty-handed. The concert sold out in just 4 hours, and that's the fastest sellout of any event in the deck's history. Well, time to take a peek at the weather once again. Meteorologist Dave Anderson is in this morning with a glimpse at what appears to be another dreary forecast. Any changes in that in sight?
Well, Jason, sure, some people might think it's dreary, but you know, we do need this rain, and I think we're going to get this much needed rain for perhaps 3 more days. Come Thursday and Friday, though, then some higher pressure will clear us up. So until then, well, we're just going to have to make do with the clouds and the gloom. I will have the details and the 5-day forecast coming up next. Well, on Saturday, temperatures hit the 60s throughout much of the region. That was the warmest of the warm for a while, and now, for the next several days at least, we're going to be much closer towards normal temperature-wise. Normal for this time of year is 40 for a high and 22 degrees for a low, so really that isn't too bad. For this date, the record high is 67 degrees. That comes from 1918. Now, as far as the sun goes, it rose this morning at 5:52, and come 6:34 tonight, it is going to set again. Currently in Duluth at the airport, the temperature is 34 degrees. Our dew point is at 33 degrees, so our relative humidity is rather high. Currently it is at 96%. Barometric pressure is on the low side, currently at 29.69, and our winds are from the northeast at 7 miles per hour currently. Later on in the day, they could gust up to as many as 20 miles per hour. Well, our overnight lows really are above normal, still not as warm as they were during that warm snap, especially around Saturday. Currently in International Falls, it is 31 degrees. We have 34 in Ely, Babbitt, and in Superior. Currently it's 33 degrees in Hibbing and in Chisholm. It's 36 in Aiken, also 36 degrees in Hayward, and 36 degrees in Ironwood. Off towards our west, our friends in the Dakotas are seeing temperatures generally in the upper 20s, but really this is not an indicator of what's coming our way. Temperatures pretty much are going to be uniform from the upper 20s to the mid-30s for the next several mornings. Then we're going to start to warm up again later on in the week. But now let's shift gears from temperatures and talk about the storms that just ravaged Minnesota and Wisconsin last night and yesterday. Well, big area of low pressure. We're really not actually a big area of low pressure, but a very compact and very dense area of low pressure. Started off in the southern parts of Minnesota, created all those dangerous tornadoes, then headed up through northern Wisconsin and created plenty of rain, and the northern fringes of that system even brought snow to the northern parts of Minnesota. Well, the worst of this is gone. The bulk of that low has gone off towards the north and the east. Now for today, what we have to face is a frontal boundary that'll be wavering back and forth through our region, creating chances for showers. Just light showers, shouldn't be anything too heavy. By tomorrow, though, that may change back to a heavier sort of precipitation because down towards the south and the west of us, we've got another area of low pressure that's coming our way. And when that gets towards us, well, the intensity of the rain just might increase. Here on the national scene, we see that strong area of low pressure that created the storms is already well out of our region. Here's the frontal boundary that we are expecting to waver through the region today and create the chance for some showers. And here comes that second storm system that's probably going to bring us a little bit heavier rain for tomorrow. Now, this frontal boundary has split the nation into two zones. Here in the southern and the eastern parts of the U.S., we've got higher pressure in control. Temperatures will range from 75 degrees in Chicago to 82 degrees in Atlanta. And on the other side of the frontal boundary, we've got cooler conditions in place, so, well, about 40, just like Fargo, is what we can expect in our region, at least for the next couple of days. Here's the forecast, and that indicates today's high temperatures actually should range from 45 to 48 degrees with a 40% chance of rain throughout the region. For tonight, our overnight lows will be just a touch on the cool side, roughly around the 30-degree mark. And there's a chance for showers tonight and maybe even a rain and snow mix for certain areas. Jason, 5-day forecast is indicating, though, that higher pressure from the west will come to us Thursday and Friday. Then we should see partly to mostly cloudy skies. And with the sunshine in place, we will see our temperatures get back into the lower 50s.
50s to top off the end of the week. That sounds like a nice bookend there.
It sure does.
All right, thanks, Dave. We're back in a moment with more news. Stay with us. We're back at 6:15. There's a new cosmetic product sweeping the nation. It's called a pore cleansing strip. It's an unusual idea, a strip of adhesive that cleans out your pores. The product was introduced last summer and is already the #1 selling skincare product in the country. Marcia Redmond did some checking to see if these pore cleansing strips really deliver what they promise.
I use the strip about once a week.
Denise Whitley's among a growing number of people using cleansing strips, a relatively new cosmetic product designed to unclog your pores. You've seen them advertised on TV. They're practically flying out of the stores.
I have to fill this this side cap once a day, at least once a day.
Here's how they work. First, you wet your face. Peel the back off the strip and apply. An ingredient on the strip bonds with the dirt in your pores.
It feels kind of not sticky, but I can feel it getting stiffer. It doesn't hurt or anything like that.
Once it dries, you peel off the strip, lifting dirt and blackheads with it.
And it leaves your nose a little bit red, but it goes right away. You can look at the strip and see the clogged pores.
One warning, if you're thinking of using the strips, dermatologists say don't overdo it.
Products are recommended to be used every 3 days. If used more frequently, one could experience irritation or redness or burning.
And definitely don't use them if you have severe acne.
But for someone with recurrent blackheads and whiteheads or multiple blackheads and whiteheads, I think a more reasonable approach would be to see us first. Let us come up with a good comprehensive regimen of cleansing and other agents that we might use.
Denise is happy with the strips, but she says don't expect drastic changes in your appearance.
I think it works well. I've noticed a change in my complexion, but it's not a drastic change.
And she has one little piece of advice.
I stay inside when it's on. I normally do it during my bedtime.
Once again, if you're thinking about using cleansing strips, dermatologists do say be sure and check with them first if you're already using prescription acne treatments. Biore isn't the only company that makes cleansing strips. Pond's has one, and a third product is in the works. Still to come on News 6 Sunrise, meteorologist Dave Anderson will be back with our forecast. The fog is nearly gone, but the rain showers are definitely not. Find out in just 6 minutes what to expect for the coming week. But first, it was an exciting final game in the women's NCAA tournament. We'll have game highlights coming up in just 2 minutes. The time now is 6:18. Sports is up next. .20 now, time for sports. After sending 3 teams to the NCAA men's hockey tournament, the WCHA's hopes of hockey supremacy have been dashed. The Wisconsin Badgers, Colorado College Tigers, and North Dakota Fighting Sioux went into this weekend's first round of tournament play with hopes that one would return college hockey's champion. The Badgers were knocked off Saturday in the first round by New Hampshire by a score of 7-4. In the quarterfinals, Bobby Hayes' goal with 2:54 left in the third period gave Michigan a 4-3 upset win over defending national champ North Dakota. Colorado College lost yesterday to Boston College. Well, in the national sports scene, Tennessee has won another national championship in women's college basketball, while the NBA's Indiana Pacers set a record that they didn't really want. Kurt Gregory has details in today's Sports Wrap.
Tennessee won an unprecedented third straight NCAA title in women's college basketball by routing Louisiana Tech in the championship game. The Lady Vols ran out to a 27-10 lead in the first half and never looked back. Shamiqua Holdsclaw scored 25 points as Tennessee rolled past Louisiana Tech 93-75. The Lady Vols finished the season at 39-0. The NCAA men's crown is on the line tonight in San Antonio. Utah finds itself as the underdog once more against Kentucky. The Wildcats will make their third straight appearance in the title game. In the NBA, the Indiana Pacers got smothered by San Antonio 74-55, setting a new NBA record for fewest points in a game since the advent of the shot clock. Indiana center Rick Smith sat out with an injured foot, and Reggie Miller served a one-game suspension for a flagrant foul. Tim Duncan led the Spurs with 24 points. Miami ripped Houston, winning its second straight Atlantic Division title. Atlanta downed Detroit. Orlando clobbered Toronto. Cleveland blew out Charlotte. Phoenix beat Vancouver. Chicago coasted at Milwaukee. Philadelphia bested Boston. Portland pounded Golden State. Minnesota stopped Sacramento. The Clippers demolished Dallas, while the Lakers ran away from Washington. Marcelo Rios of Chile has ended Pete Sampras's 102-week reign as the #1 player in men's tennis. Rios stopped Andre Agassi in the finals of the Lipton Championships 7-5, 6-3, and 6-4. Rios is the first South American to hold the #1 ranking. On the NHL scoreboard, Ottawa and Pittsburgh skated to a tie. Florida blanked Chicago. Philadelphia downed Carolina. Detroit doubled up Buffalo. Dallas beat New Jersey in a matchup of the league's top 2 teams. That's the Sports Wrap. I'm Kurt Gregory, NBC News.
Well, hopefully over the weekend you got to do something on Saturday. Yesterday was a bit on the gloomy side, a little bit of rain intermittently. Is that kind of the plan for this week?
Yeah, a little bit of rain intermittently, maybe even a scattered thunderstorm or two. Eventually, though, higher pressure from the west is coming our way, and we will see some sunshine, and our temperatures will get back into the 50s. Maybe they'll crack the 60-degree mark again eventually, Jason. I'll have the details on that with the 5-day forecast coming up next. Well, there are 2 different air masses in the U.S. today. One's a warmer one, one's a cooler one. For today and the next couple of days, we are going to be on the cooler side of the air masses. So our high temperatures today, tomorrow, and Wednesday probably are going to be very close to the normal of 40 degrees, a far cry from the 60s that we saw on Saturday. Well, the record high for the state is in the 60s. It's 67 degrees. That comes from 1918. Record low for the date is 12 degrees below zero. That is from 1923. Currently at Duluth Airport, the temperature is 34 degrees. Our dew point is at 33 currently. Winds are from the northeast at 7 miles per hour. Later on in the day, they could gust as high as 20 miles per hour. Barometric pressure is on the low side. Currently, it's at 29.69. It will probably stay on the low side until Thursday. That's when some higher pressure will come on in and chase these clouds away. Right now, the relative humidity is up there. Currently, that is at 96%. And our temperatures around the region are a little bit cooler than they have been the past couple of mornings, but still they are above normal. 31 is the current in International Falls. We have 34 in Tower and in Ely, and even in Babbitt. 33 is the current in in Hibbing and Chisholm. 34 is the current in Superior. We have 36 in Aiken, 36 also in Hayward, and another 36-degree temperature to report in Ironwood, Michigan. Well, for high temperatures today, we will get a little bit better than the normal for the date. I think 45 is a good benchmark for the region for a high temperature today. Well, let's put some clouds and some radar data into motion here and talk a little bit about the big storms that just, well, knocked Minnesota and Wisconsin for a loop yesterday. A tight area of low pressure started off in the southern parts of Minnesota, created tornadoes in the St. Peter region, then headed on towards northern Wisconsin where rainfall was heavy at times. Spooner, for example, reported 2.5 inches of rain, and the northern fringes of this passing low actually brought snow to Tower, Minnesota, and made driving just a little bit treacherous there for a short time. Well, as we can see on this satellite and radar map, that the bulk of the storm has gone towards the north and the east. Now for today, a wavering stationary front is probably going to create a 40% chance for some lighter showers, but they should stay on the lighter side. But maybe by tomorrow, the rain will intensify once again. There's another area of low pressure coming our way, and we can see currently it is bringing some storms to Iowa. Well, as that moves on towards the north and the east tomorrow, well, that may bring us a couple of thunderstorms, maybe some heavier rain. Now we'll take a look at the national picture. There goes that area of low pressure that brought the storms yesterday and last night. We don't have to worry about that one. Here's the frontal boundary that'll be doing the wavering today and creating the chance for some light rain activity. Here's the other area of low pressure that is coming our way to bring us some heavier rain for tomorrow. Now here's where the warmer air mass is currently. That's in the south and the eastern parts of the United States. Here's where the cooler air mass is. That is in the western and the northern parts of the U.S. Well, for the next couple of days, it's going to be these cooler conditions that dominate our weather, but this high pressure here should be with us come Thursday and Friday, so the sunshine should counteract the cooler temperatures. And by Thursday and Friday, we'll actually hop back into the 50s. Well, here's our forecast for today, and we just might nudge the 50s, but I don't think we'll quite make it. Temperatures today should be in the 40s with a 40% chance of lighter rain throughout the region. Overnight tonight, Jason, the lows should be ranging from the upper 20s to the mid 30s, and there's a chance for some light rain, maybe even a rain and snow mix for several portions of our region. 5-day forecast indicates we'll have to put up with the rain through Wednesday, but then by Thursday and Friday, the higher pressure comes and we'll see partly cloudy skies.
Back to the sunshine. Sounds good.
It sure does.
Sounds real good. Thanks, Dave. We're back with another half hour in just a moment. Stay with us. Good morning, everyone. It is 6:30, Monday, March 30th. I'm Jason Rice. In the next half hour of News 6 Sunrise, devastating storms ripped through southern Minnesota and parts of Wisconsin yesterday, killing at least one. We'll show you some of the damage. Plus, the Moose Lake Police Department needs your help in searching for one of its own. And questions continue over funding a state hockey team and the fate of River Center. We'll have the latest information. Those stories are all coming up, but first we'll take a look at the weather once again with meteorologist Dave Anderson this morning. And it is a bit on the sprinkly side out there, shall we say, this morning?
It is. A little misty, but that's what we should expect for the next 3 days, Jason. I think the worst of the storms are behind us. Let's take a look at our national radar map where we can see the track of the storm systems that just wreaked havoc throughout Minnesota and Wisconsin in the past 24 hours. Storm started in southern Minnesota, went through northern Wisconsin, but now it is out of our region, so the rain we're expecting for today should stay on the light side. But boy, some of the weather we did get reported in includes Spooner with 2.5 inches of rain overnight. There was snow in Tower, Minnesota. Even Duluth got an inch of rain in the past 24 hours, but as I've been saying, things should be calming down for today. Today's forecast is calling for a chance of light rain, Jason, but it should stay light. High temperatures will be in the mid-40s.
All right, that's a good sneak peek at today, and we'll get the rest of the week in just a bit. Topping our news this morning, a string of tornadoes wound their way through southern Minnesota this weekend. Spring storms were with a deadly punch. A 6-year-old is dead. Hundreds of homes are damaged in several communities. Lauren Glassberg reports St. Peter, Minnesota was one of the hardest hit.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen in 24 years of doing this job. There's houses down, trees down, tops of buildings off. The courthouse, half the top is gone off of that. It's a mess.
A stormy Sunday afternoon brought mayhem to St. Peter.
You just see the clouds turning and turning, and pretty soon you could see it coming down.
At least one funnel cloud hopped, skipped, and tore its way through the town of 10,000.
You could just see the black clouds swirling, and then all of a sudden you could hear the roar of the train.
Only part of Mary Finisgard's home is still standing.
I used to have a porch there in the roof, and it was just all sided. Yeah.
Her neighborhood is an intersection of disaster.
We don't get many down here in the valley, and I always said if we ever got one down here, it was going to be bad, and it is.
Anybody here?
Police go door to door looking for survivors.
What about this house?
No, they don't know yet.
They don't know yet?
That's his car. They must have cleaned him up. He said he's
Do
probably.
you think he's in there?
Okay.
You okay? Where are you at?
I'm just fixing up stuff.
You're
supposed to do? Are we supposed to leave or
probably should get out of this. You probably should get out of it.
And as darkness quickly fell, people gathered what they could. Tonight, they counted their blessings
Thank God they've got the warning systems now, because we were all down there safe and sound.
and wondered what's next.
I guess tomorrow will tell.
The 6-year-old boy was riding in a van that was blown off the road about 150 yards into a farm field near St. Peter. He's been identified as Dustin Schneider. At least 27 people have been admitted to area hospitals, 3 of them in critical condition. Governor Arnie Carlson is now sending 100 National Guards people today, in addition to the 50 called in yesterday. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, one tornado was reported in Buffalo County, but there were no reports of injuries. And closer to home, Ashland police closed Highway 2 because ice was being blown off Lake Superior and piling up on the road 10 to 15 feet high in some places. Last night, one person was injured after a car rolled over near Gary. The accident occurred shortly before 9 p.m. at Commonwealth Avenue and McConaughey Street. One person was thrown from the vehicle. A second was not injured. The vehicle knocked down a power pole during the crash. Well, a report filed with the city of Duluth shows that almost $200,000 was spent by those who fought to bring the USS Des Moines to Duluth. The biggest spender was the Department of Natural Resources, which spent $143,000 taxpayer dollars on project planning and payroll. The Veterans Yes Group spent $49,000 to sway public opinion. The privately donated funds were mostly spent on television advertising. Meanwhile, the Anti-Des Moines Coalition managed to stop the project with less than $10,000. Other money spent by Arnie Carlson's office is not public information because it was taken from the governor's private fund. Still ahead on News 6 Sunrise, meteorologist Dave Anderson will join us again with your 5-day forecast. It was a wet day across the Northland yesterday. Find out in just 6 minutes if we can expect more of the same today. But first, when we come back in 2 minutes, the working mom on the run tells us why it's important to stand up straight.
Hey, I'm Debbie Niagara, the working mom on the run. Coming up, how better posture can lead to fewer headaches.
It is 6:38. Did you know that standing up straight does more than make you look better? Debbie Nigro, our working mom on the run, says it can actually be good for your teeth, too.
Do you get frequent headaches? How about pain in your lower jaw? Right about here, between your earlobe and your jawline. It may be caused by your posture. I kid you not. According to the Academy of General Dentistry, poor posture puts the spine into a position that causes stress to the jaw joint. If you slouch or hunch, the lower jaw shifts forward. This puts pressure on your jaw muscles as well as on the facial joints and bones. It also makes you look like Jay Leno. Left untreated, bad posture can result in pain and inflammation and permanent damage to your teeth. So remember what your mother used to say. Stand up straight, honey. Don't slouch. So try to work on your posture whenever you can. Tomorrow we'll practice coordination. I'm Debbie Niagara, the working mom on the run. I gotta run.
Well, losing a family pet to health complications can be a devastating experience. But when you suspect your pet may have either run away or been kidnapped or stolen, the loss can turn to fear and anger. Adam May reports how one missing dog could affect an entire Northland community.
Last year, right around this time, we introduced you to Keisha, a drug-sniffing canine that found a full-time job with the Moose Lake Police Department. Over the past year, Keisha was partially responsible for record-breaking drug busts in the Moose Lake area, stopping what police call a drug pipeline running along Interstate 35 from Minneapolis to Duluth. And although the drug busts keep going, Keisha is now missing. She disappeared just over a week ago. An award-winning dog that was as well behaved as a dog could possibly be.
We've done a lot of training with some other agencies around here before we actually went down through Minneapolis Police Department's Narcotics Canine School. And then it just got, continuous training, working on the street from there. Plus, we train weekly with the dog.
Newspaper ads and a police search for Keisha have turned up little clues.
We're not ruling anything out. There's just so many possibilities right now of what could happen. We're not ruling out foul play at all. But, there's always a possibility. I've had the dog for 2 years and it's never gone anywhere before, so I don't think it's likely now.
For the Moose Lake Police Department, Keisha has been more than just a coworker. She quickly became a friend, a member of the family, and a member of the community.
If we'd stop and talk to kids on the street, the dog was the thing they wanted to come up and see. Yeah, you really don't realize how much a part of everything it was till, they're gone.
But the mystery of missing Keisha remains. In Moose Lake, Adam May, Channel 6 News.
If you have any information on Keisha, the missing canine, you should contact the Moose Lake Police Department. That number is on your screen right now. It's area code 218-485-8404, and a reward is being offered. We'll have this number for you again later on this hour. Once again, time to talk weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson, and we've seen some rain over the past day or so, and in some places some very severe conditions. Not quite any of that here.
Well, not too bad at least. Northern Wisconsin did see some fairly heavy rainfalls, as I've been saying, 2.5 inches in Spooner. Lake Superior driving ice onto the roadways over by Ashland. That's fairly nasty. Even snow up in Tower, Minnesota. But I think this is going to be the most severe weather, or that has been the most severe weather we're going to see for the next couple of days. The next storm system on tap will bring us rain, sure, but the bulk of the energy should stay towards the south of us. I'll have details on the next bout of rain coming up next. For most folks, Saturday was like a day in heaven here in the Northland. Temperatures hit the low 60s and there was plenty of sunshine. Now, of course, the sun is gone and temperatures are going to be much closer to reality. Normal high for the state is 40 degrees. Today's highs should be around 45 degrees, so we will beat the normal, but not by very much. Normal low for the date is 22 degrees. Record high for the date is 67 degrees. That's from 1918. Record low for the date is 12 degrees below zero. That comes from 1923. Now, currently at Duluth's airport, the temperature is 34 degrees with a dew point of 33 degrees, so that makes a fairly high relative humidity, which currently is at 96%. Right now, the barometric pressure is on the low side. It's at 29.69. It will probably stay on the low side through Wednesday. I think by Thursday we'll see some higher pressure come on in. So we'll just have to sit through lower pressure until Wednesday. Winds currently are from the northeast at 7 miles per hour. Later on today, they'll probably gust up to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, they may even gust up to 25 miles per hour. Well, here's our current morning temperatures. A bit cooler than they have been the past couple of mornings, but still above normal, so I guess we're not doing too bad. 31 is the current in International Falls. We have 30 in Walker, 33 in Hibbing, 34 in Ely, 34 in Superior, 36 over in Aiken, and 36 in Hayward, and also 36 degrees in Ironwood and in Ashland. For high temperatures today, roughly you can add about 10 degrees to these and we'll come up with temperatures in the mid-40s. And I think that's where we'll stay high-wise, at least till Thursday, when the added sunshine from higher pressure helps nudge our temperatures back up into the 50s. But now let's talk about the storms that were just running roughshod over Minnesota and Wisconsin in the past 24 hours. A very compact and very energetic low pressure center started off in the southern parts of Minnesota, brought tornadoes to the St. Peter region, headed up towards northern Wisconsin, brought plenty of rain to Spooner, as I've been talking about. Authorities were reporting standing water on many county roads in northern Wisconsin this morning, but that should be easing off as we speak. And of course, the winds off the lake drove ice onto the roads near Ashland. So this storm was a very vigorous one, but now the bulk of the energy has gone towards the north and the east of us, and what we're facing today is a 40% chance of lighter rain as a stationary front becomes just a little less stationary and wavers back and forth throughout the region. That will give us a 40% chance of showers for today, but the rain could get just a little bit heavier tomorrow. There's a second storm system down towards the south and the west of us. Right now it's starting to rip up through Iowa, but the track of this one probably is a little more southerly than the other one, so the bulk of the heavy precipitation will probably stay in southern Wisconsin, but still we will face a chance for some heavier rains, at least heavier than the ones that we face for today. Now here on the national scene, we see the area of low pressure that brought the storms in the past 24 hours is heading towards the north and the east. Here's the frontal boundary that'll be doing the wavering, creating the chance of rain for today. Here's the area of low pressure that'll come on through, create the chance of rain for tomorrow. And towards the west of us, we see the center of high pressure coming our way. That will bring us the chance for partly cloudy skies come Thursday and Friday. Well, here's the forecast for today. High temperatures should be in the mid-40s with a 40% chance of lightish rain throughout the region. For tonight, overnight lows will range from 28 to maybe 35 degrees with a 50% chance of light rain, maybe even a light rain and snow mix. Jason, 5-day forecast indicates we'll have to sit through the clouds and the rain through Wednesday, but that's not a bad thing, is it? Come Thursday and Friday, we'll get a little break in the action with some higher pressure and some warmer conditions.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Welcome.
We're back with another story about the Minnesota Wild right after this. 6:47 now. An alternative financing plan for a new NHL arena in St. Paul may emerge this week. The legislature is balking at putting $65 million into a new arena. Governor Carlson has asked his staff to come up with a viable second option. Meanwhile, the fate of River Center seems to be up in the air, as Carrie Miller reports.
Monday night, British rocker Eric Clapton will figuratively bring down the Civic Center house. But 10 days later, a wrecking ball will collide with these historic walls, and St. Paul's Civic Center will literally fall. Maybe.
We do not want to see the current Civic Center demolished.
In a hastily arranged City Hall news conference, 4 council members today disavowed a deal struck last year with the NHL's Minnesota Wild and demanded demolition be halted until a new deal can be made.
Either this was the most naive political act in the history of Minnesota or was an outright fraud.
It all comes after hours of tough questioning Wednesday night by lawmakers asked to ante up $65 million of taxpayer money for the arena project. And today, committee members were no happier.
I guess what I'm really disturbed about is the National Hockey League coming into Minnesota, St. Paul, and telling Gary Leidig, we're knocking down the building, take it or leave it. That makes me very angry.
But at City Hall, the mayor, who suddenly finds himself playing defense on his hockey coup, is taking it calmly.
There's no demolition going on today or tomorrow. Nothing's going on before the legislature is expected to end. So we have time. Let's use the time to reiterate what we've always reiterated, and I say it again for the 23rd time. Treat us fairly.
There were some people that wanted hockey so bad that protecting the taxpayers of St. Paul, I think, were almost forgotten.
So Monday night, when the spotlight closes and Eric Clapton's encore notes fade, the Civic Center will go dark, but the walls will stand, perhaps long past its scheduled date with the Wrecking Ball.
Well, if you're interested in seeing Eric Clapton tonight, more tickets have gone on sale. You can call Ticketmaster for more information on that. Right now, though, it is time to check in with the Today Show crew to find out what's coming up right after News 6 Sunrise. Let's go to New York and join Matt Lauer. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. Coming up this Monday morning on Today, students in Jonesboro, Arkansas are returning to school for their first full week since the shooting rampage there last week. Meanwhile, 13-year-old Mitchell Johnson is being held for the deaths of 4 classmates and his teacher. His father visited with him in prison over the weekend. He'll be here to tell us about their meeting. Since the shocking murders in Jonesboro, Americans have been looking to cast some blame. Is it society, the media, what? We'll get into that debate. Then on a lighter note, best-selling author Anne Rice will be here to tell us about her newest novel. It's called Pandora. And will it be deja vu all over again when baseball legend, now author Yogi Berra stops by? All that and much more coming up in a few minutes right here on Today.
And still to come on News 6 Sunrise, meteorologist Dave Anderson will have your forecast. In 6 minutes, we'll tell you if any more storms are headed our way. And then in business news, there's trouble brewing at a major beer manufacturer. We'll have the story coming up in just 2 minutes. It is 6:51. 7 minutes now before the 7 o'clock hour. In business news this morning, tobacco stocks could be on the move with word of a tobacco settlement before Congress. And picket lines could replace beer lines at Anheuser-Busch. Andrew Leckie has details in today's Business Brief.
Good morning. There's some smoke around Congress's tobacco bill this morning. Yesterday, the Senate Commerce Committee unveiled parts of a settlement that raises cigarette prices by $1.10 over 5 years. It hopes to reduce underage smoking by 60% in 10 years. Now, the Wall Street Journal says the settlement also includes a provision limiting tobacco legal costs to $6.5 billion a year. It would also provide immunity for the industry against past misconduct. This news would certainly have a big effect on the tobacco stocks today. The Dow Industrials head into the day's trading at 87.69 after dropping 50 points in its third straight losing session. Checking the overseas markets now, in Japan, the Nikkei plunged almost 3% on speculation about the government's economic plan. In Hong Kong, stocks fell 2% on profit-taking, and the key markets in Europe opened lower. Here's a look at some of the other stories we'll be following on CNBC today. The king of beers may soon see a lot of pickets in the near future. The Teamsters Union has recommended workers reject a contract offer from Budweiser maker Anheuser-Busch. The company says it's building inventories in case of a strike, although it doesn't expect one. And finally, BMW is shelling out $570 million for Rolls-Royce. The German car maker's bid was accepted by Rolls' current parent, Britain's Vickers. BMW outbid rival Volkswagen, as well as a long-shot group of investors who wanted to keep Rolls British-owned. That's a quick look at business news. I'm Andrew Leckie.
Once again, it is time for a forecast from meteorologist Dave Anderson, so I'll just turn things over to him and let him do what he does best.
Well, Jason, it looks like things are going to be just a little bit gloomy and a little bit rainy today. Conditions like that will hold true through Wednesday. Then some sunshine will finally come back our way by Thursday and Friday. And by Thursday and Friday, I think temperatures will hit the 50s once again. The full details will be coming up after this commercial break. The U.S. today is split into a warm and a cool zone, and of course we in the Northland are on the cooler side of the cool zone, so our temperatures aren't going to be as warm as they have been for the past couple of days, and seeing we're close enough to the boundary between the warm and the cool zones, well, we're also going to see a clash going on, and we're going to see a chance for gray skies and a chance for rain showers. Now, as far as temperatures go, the normal high for this date is 40 degrees. We'll be getting fairly close to that. I think we'll top out roughly around 45 degrees today. Normal low for the date is 22 degrees, so we have beaten that by a good 12 degrees. Record high for the date is 67 degrees. That is from 1918. Right now in Duluth, the temperature is 34 degrees. Our winds are from the northeast at 7 miles per hour. Later on, they'll probably increase to about 10 to 20 miles per hour. Barometric pressure currently is on the low side. That is at 29.69. It should stay low through Wednesday. Then by Thursday, higher pressure will come on in, and we'll see the gray skies go away. Now, right now this morning, our relative humidity is on the high side of things. Currently, it is at 96%. Around our region, temperatures are a bit cooler than they have been the past couple of mornings, but still they are above normal, so we'll call this morning a success. Currently, it is 34 degrees in Ely and in Babbitt. It's also 34 in Superior. We've got 33 in Hibbing and in Chisholm, 30 in Walker, 36 in Aiken, 31 degrees in International Falls, 36 in Hayward, and 36 in the Hurley and the Ironwood region. And for high temperatures today, add about 10 degrees onto these, and we'll come up with the low to mid 40s, which is what we're expecting for highs for today and for the next couple of days before another warm-up comes our way for Thursday and for Friday. But now let's talk a little bit about storms, because storms in the past 24 hours have really influenced, well, a lot of weather down towards our south, especially. A tight area of low pressure started off in southern Minnesota, went through southern Minnesota, created, well, dangerous tornadoes that unfortunately did kill one youngster. Then that storm started to move up into northern Wisconsin, and plenty of rain was reported in northern Wisconsin. Spooner, just one location that reported multi-inches of rain. They reported 2.5 inches in the overnight hours. Ashland even saw ice being driven off Lake Superior onto shore and creating dangerous conditions on the roadways. But as we can see on this current radar map, the bulk of that storm has moved towards the north and the east, and that's going to allow things to settle down for us today. But seeing we're on the boundary between the warm to the south and the cool to the north, well, we're going to see a stationary front wavering back and forth today. That's going to be creating a 40% chance of showers throughout the region. Then for tomorrow, another area of low pressure that's forming down towards the south and the west of us will start to come through our region. But I think the center of this storm system is going to stay far enough towards the south that the thunderstorms, at least the severe thunderstorms, will stay in the central parts of Wisconsin and leave the rest of the Northland alone. Now, before I set up the forecast here, take a quick look at the national map. We see high pressure off towards our west. That will be with us for Thursday and Friday, and that will bring some sunshine to our skies. Now, forecast for today is calling for cloudy skies with a very good chance of rain, a 40 to 50% in fact, with high temperatures in the mid-40s. Overnight lows tonight, Jason, should range from 28 to 35 degrees with a chance for some precipitation. 5-day forecast indicates precip could last through Wednesday. Then Thursday and Friday, well, a change in the weather is coming, a sunnier change in fact.
Why, that sounds mighty nice. What a way to end the week off. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for starting your week off with us this morning. We'll be back in 25 minutes. Right now, let's go to New York for the Today Show.
Men's wardrobe provided by Mainstream Fashion for Men, downtown Duluth.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Dave Anderson with our 5-day forecast. Let's start off with today's forecast. Well, I think the chance for rain in our region today stands at about 40%. Rain for the most part should stay on the lighter side today. High temperatures should range from 45 to 48 degrees. Tonight, our overnight lows will range from 28 to 35 degrees. There will be a chance for some light rain in the region, maybe even a freezing rain and drizzle mix in certain areas of our region. 5-day forecast indicates we'll finally see some sunshine come Thursday.